Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Solo, a Star Wars story, has a new trailer that actually gives me hope for this movie. Alden Ehrenreich's acting, Schmalden Sparenreich's schmacting. He seems fine, and I'll take a Star Wars train heist with Chewie, Woody, Donald Glover, and HBO actors any day. So I'm gonna break down this trailer frame by frame, pointing out all the new details that you might have missed. And spoiler warning in case any of these predictions are too perfect. Cool? Let's get started.
You're after something. Is it revenge?
Okay, this trailer opens on Han Solo's homeworld of Corellia. You can see its grimy, industrial-looking city and this upward-looking shot of an Imperial Star Destroyer undergoing repairs. It reminds me a lot of the Jedi shots in Rogue One. I like the detail of the little rat creature running along the cable. It could be a normal rat if not for that weird tail. This reminds me of the recurring shots in the movie The Departed with the rat running along the banister. The rat was used as a symbol of the corruption, deceit of those characters in that whole world. This image evokes a similar feel for this movie. It'll be a story about the less noble criminal side of this whole Star Wars universe. Then we see Han Solo standing off in a cowboy-style duel against this villain character. This was confirmed to be Enfys Nest, described as an extremely dangerous marauder who quickly forged an infamous reputation for herself. The crew is a gang of pirates called the Cloud Riders. In my breakdown of the first trailer, which you should definitely go watch, I pointed out how her mask and helmet has the design of Mandalorian armor. That's a style of armor worn by characters like Boba Fett, also the Legends character Darth Revan. And on that helmet are some Orabesh letters. At the time I could make out U, O, N, and R. And here you can see that her top two helmet spikes are actually serrated blades that she inserted, making close combat with her even more deadly. And of course, Han's unclipping of his blaster holster is a nice little nod to his background as a scoundrel who shoots first. For more ways this trailer really wants us to identify Ehrenreich as a classic Han Solo, let's move on.
Money? Or is it something else? You look good. A little rough around the edges, but good.
Heard about a job.
Okay, in this section, Han walks in on Lando Calrissian, played by Donald Glover, raking in the chips from what looks like a game of sabacc. And I just love this freak show of practical puppets and costume aliens joining him at the table. Very much evokes the classic Mos Eisley cantinas and what J.J. Abrams was going for in Maz Kanata's club in The Force Awakens. Restaurant chain Denny's actually did a Han Solo commercial for trading cards that actually gave us the names for some of these monstrosities. Thanks, Denny's. There's old lobster claw hands. His name is Therm Scissor Punch. Meanwhile, in the bottom corner, that's Argus Six Eyes Panox. Can't imagine how I got that name. Then a close-up shows that Han is going all in on one hand, suggesting this could be the specific game of sabacc that legend has it Han won the Millennium Falcon from Lando. Then we see Han examining the Falcon in the next shot with Chewbacca. In the previous trailer it was just Han looking at the Falcon, suggesting that Chewie was added in post-production or in reshoots. Same goes for this shot of Han and Qi'ra descending the dune. Honestly, if Ron Howard's biggest contribution to the reshoots of this movie was just, these scenes need a bit more Chewie, I am totally okay with that. Let's move on.
Big shot gangster putting together crew.
I'm a driver, and I'm a flyer. I waited a long time for a shot like this. What do you think? Well, what do you know?
Here, Woody Harrelson's character, Tobias Beckett, briefs Han on a job backed by a new character we're seeing for the first time, Paul Bettany's character, a gangster named Droid Voss. Now, no relation to YouTube gangster Erik Voss. Wait a minute. Papa? Is that you? I should also say no relation to Quinlan Voss, the Jedi from Legends in the animated series. Droid Voss was originally going to be played by Michael K. Williams, who was unfortunately unavailable for reshoots, so they had to recast him with Bettany. Emilia Clarke's character, Qi'ra, is apparently an associate of Dryden. Qi'ra grew up with Han on Corellia, explaining why she appears in the scenes of the two of them in that speeder chase. Now it appears that their paths have changed, with Qi'ra moving up in the criminal underworld. We also see Han talking to that Imperial recruitment officer that he met with in the first trailer, pitching himself as a driver and a flyer, ironically intercut with clips of him driving and flying away from Imperial stormtroopers. And then we see this shot of the big set piece from this movie on this snowy mountain planet. This place is called Vandor, and Han's job looks to be a kind of train heist, stealing a boxcar from this transport, which is called the Conveyex. If you look closely, Han's ship appears to be in a sort of tug of war over this boxcar with these other crafts that actually match the vessels that we saw earlier with the Cloud Riders. So it appears that these rival gangs of thieves are both going after the same loot. We also see Val, Thandie Newton's character, who's a longtime partner of Beckett. Beckett kisses a blaster and tosses it to Han. This is actually Han's DL-44 blaster that we've seen him use throughout the Star Wars series. Perhaps we'll get an origin story for the weapon here. And then this exchange between Han and Chewie.
What do you think? Well, what do you know?
Of all the footage we've seen, this moment felt the most true to the spirit of Han Solo and his relationship with Chewbacca. And based on his surroundings, it looks like Chewie is advising him against making a big move in that game of Sabacc with Lando. Let's move on.
You got a line on a ship?
Yeah, I know a guy. He's the best smuggler around.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
Okay, in this section, Han and Chewie scale up to this impressive mountainside structure with these massive tusks marking the entrance. I'm guessing this is actually the location Han first encounters Lando, which I would love because it kind of evokes Indiana Jones. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jones teamed up with his partner, Marion Ravenwood, in a similar mountain tavern, running into her right after a badass drinking game, similar to the gamble Han finds Lando in the middle of here. As they sit across from each other, Lando says, "Everything you heard about me is true." This is a cool parallel to Han Solo's line in The Force Awakens when Rey blathers on about the myths she's heard about these legendary figures.
It's true. All of it.
This droid cocktail server tops off Lando's drink. In that Denny's ad, the beverage appears to be the classic blue bantha milk, but I would imagine Lando would want something a bit stronger. Also, if you look closely at the pile of chips on the table, there's a faint little glimmer there. I'm wondering if that could belong to Han's lucky golden dice, which of course showed up in the earlier shot hanging from the rear view on that speeder. And yeah, it played such a huge role in The Last Jedi. Anyway, I assume we'll see him toss out those dice at some point in this game. Moving on.
L3!
Let go of the mean man's face.
Who are these guys? If you come with us, you're in this life for good.
You might wanna buckle up, baby.
In this clip, we see Lando's droid, L337, voiced by actress Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I mentioned before that the name L337 is a reference to Leet, the nerdy internet language. We also see a wide shot of the Millennium Falcon here, and yeah, you might notice how its nose looks a lot different. Normally, there are two prongs with a gap in between them. My guess is that this extra section is part of the ship's cargo holds that will be removed later on. And as we get more shots of the Falcon's pristine, not yet grimed up interior, we see Han joining Lando and L3 in the cockpit, where Lando says, "You might want to buckle up, baby." I like how L3 smacks her own head, maybe trying to work out a kink, or maybe just mocking Don on being such a skeptical idiot of the ship's speed capabilities. Let's move on to the next section.
Here they come! Let me give you some advice. Assume everyone will betray you, and you will never be disappointed.
Okay, here on the Vandor Convex, we see a new variant of the Stormtrooper called Range Troopers. And check out their boots that light up. Those are magnetic. They allow the Range Trooper to walk on the surface of the Convex even when it rolls over on its side. You can see the cable at Beckett's feet there. He's clearly trying to attach it to this boxcar so it can be lifted out. Meanwhile, in a wider shot of this shootout, you can see Han's ship hovering over the train. Next, we see the Falcon soaring toward a planet. Now, in addition to Corellia, there are a few other new planets that are supposed to appear in this movie. One of them is Kessel, the origin point of the famous Kessel Run. Kessel is home to various spice mines, from which smugglers like Han and Lando and Beckett deliver to wealthier planets like Coruscant. But we see a closer look of the other new planet here in this shot of an AT-ST chicken walker. It lands in this swampy region. This is the planet Mimban. Mimban is another planet from old Star Wars lore from Legends novels like Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It was going to be featured in other various Star Wars movies. It was originally referred to as Bog Planet. Mimban comes with its own Stormtrooper variant, the Mud Trooper, which you can see here. Entertainment Weekly also released a promo still of Mimban that gives us a better look. There's also a quick shot of Val firing a cable hook at the Convex, and then this interesting shot of Chewie embracing another Wookiee. Some are saying this could be his wife, Mala, or his son, Lumpy, who appeared in the amazing Star Wars holiday special. In Chewie's previous backstory from Legends, which might be revised for this movie, Han actually found him among a group of Wookiee slaves that were being forced into labor by the Empire. Han was in training as an Imperial officer, and he had a change of heart, deciding to save Chewie's life, creating the lifelong bond between the two of them. Perhaps this scene is from Chewie's escape, when he's saying goodbye to another Wookiee companion as they part ways upon leaving captivity. Let's move on.
I got a really good feeling about this.
When do you know how to fly?
190 years old? You look great. Push it.
Here we see more shots of the Falcon rolling through space, evading the tentacles of this giant space monster. Han says he's got a real good feeling about this, obviously nodding at his well-known pessimism that he'll have as an older, more seasoned smuggler.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I have a really bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about this.
In my last trailer breakdown, I speculated that this whole sequence could be taking place in that infamous Kessel Run, which is an asteroid field contained within a nebula. It definitely looks like those TIE fighters are chasing the Falcon through asteroids there. We also get a confirmation of Chewbacca's age, 190 years old. That actually lines up with the Chewie timeline we've had before. He's supposed to be over 230 years old around the time of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and 200 in the first Star Wars. Wookiees tend to live around 400 years. So yeah, maybe let's show this elderly walking carpet some respect, huh? All right, let's move on to this last section.
So glad we took this job!
Okay, in this final clip, Droid Voss shows off a nasty looking weapon, some kind of cross between brass knuckles and a red laser blade. They look kind of like a similar design as the melee weapons used by the Praetorian Guards in The Last Jedi. And if you look closely, he's slashing those at Han here. Maybe this is how Han will get that scar on his chin. Like Solo, a Star Wars story, could do a similar move that Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade did, with River Phoenix whipping himself on the chin to explain the origin of Harrison Ford's chin scar. Then some more battle shots on Mimban with mud troopers, and then a shot of Chewie completely wrecking a trooper. That guy's head went back in his body. Chewie like reverse rock'em sock'em'd him. Ugh. And then after Kira throws a grenade, we close out on this shot of Han and Chewie on the Convey X, with Chewie losing his footing as it rolls, Boulder coming in. An Entertainment Weekly photo of this moment show that the two of them are clinging to part of the train with these Aurebesh signs. Those letters translate to hitch joint. And hitch, please, Solo trailer, you're not fooling anyone by making us think Chewie's gonna die here. The Wookiee's only in like 5 future Star Wars films. Like either he'll get pulled to safety, or even cooler, his body will just like obliterate this boulder. But you know what? Solo, a Star Wars story isn't looking like a guessing game over who's gonna live, who's gonna die, the way Rogue One was. This movie's aiming to be a thrilling caper that shows how our favorite heroes became the man and space bear that we know them to be. But a question for you guys. What do you think is the loot that Han and the others are trying to steal from this Convey X? Something valuable like Kyber crystals, or a human bounty like rebel prisoners with some VIPs in there? I'm just curious to see if this prize has merely monetary value, or if it could end up being something that connects Solo to the broader Star Wars narrative in some way. Comment down below with your theories, or tweet me directly at Erik Voss, and follow New Rockstars on Twitter for updates on our videos. Like this video, share it around, and subscribe to New Rockstars for everything Star Wars related. And yeah, be sure to check out my breakdown of the first Solo trailer. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.